Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, Chaotic, Beyblade, Duel Masters. What did these properties have in common? They had shows to sell the toys, and we loved every second of it. Except for Duel Masters, maybe, I don't know. A lot of effort was put into these shows to make the games related to them seem awesome in real life, and for some of them, they worked almost too well. Today, we're talking about one of those said properties, the spherical world of Bakugan. Hello everyone, the Gaming Genius here, granting your gaming requests one wish at a time. During the very late 2000s, I loved Bakugan. I watched the show very religiously. I bought all the toys that I could so I could play the game at home. It was a great time. Unfortunately, none of my friends were really into Bakugan, so it was a solo adventure. That didn't stop me enjoying it any less though, especially in another form of media. One day, cards fell from the sky, and kids created a game out of it. But little did they know, the creatures within the spheres were alive, and from another world that is in peril. With the help of his allies known as the Brawlers, Dan Kuso vowed to save the world of Bakugan from anyone who threatened it. The show itself lasted a good while, a total of 4 seasons and close to 200 episodes. Our focus today is a little game based on the first season, Bakugan Battle Brawlers. That came out while the second season was airing. Oops. Published by then Kings of Licensed Games, whether better or not, Activision. Here's hoping it's a good time as I revisit a game I played years ago. I'll be playing the PlayStation 3 version. The different versions I'll get into soon. You play as a creatable character who one day finds a mysterious Bakugan named Genieous. They team up and win battles before the masked boy Marduk shows up with his Bakugan Vladitor. With the safety of Bakugan on the line, you climb the ranks hoping to stop Vladitor from getting powerful enough to conquer all Bakugan and anyone standing in his way. The plot acts like an extended episode of the show, which works with what we got, save for the non-canon changes. The city has a tournament stadium, which is in the show, a Bakugan shop run by Battle Brawler Alice, and Genieous and Vladitor are new Bakugan created for the game. That being said, a lot of characters from the show appear in the game, with all the voice cast for them reprising their roles. The Brawlers themselves, Runo, Marucho, Julie, and Shun, may seem cold, but only because they care for Bakugan. At least that's kind of what I was hoping. Man, I really hope this isn't your entry into Bakugan. As for the leader of the Battle Brawlers, Dan Kuso acts as a sort of mentor to you, and honestly, he fits the role well enough. Marduk, on the other hand, oh boy, what a weak antagonist. You're told of his actions, not shown, and his backstory is only explained right before the final tournament. Vladitor, on the other hand, fits as a better main threat, but only because his story is more prevalent. The other antagonists from the show are here too, but only when they need to be. But that's better than Darth Marduk over here. A fine story that does its job, which thankfully now we can get to the really good stuff. After all, you are here for the game, and thank all that is Destroya, it is a really fun game. Especially if you played the real life game. What I mean is that the game plays nearly identical to how the actual game of Bakugan is played. You have 3 Bakugan to use, 3 gate cards, and 3 ability cards. Gate cards are placed on the field, and if your Bakugan and an opponent's Bakugan land on the same card, a battle initiates. The gate card is revealed, and the bonus is given to each Bakugan depending on its attribute, as well as any criteria the card has. More on that in a bit. Afterwards, you can use an ability card to stack the odds in your favor, but once you use it, it's gone for the rest of the match. Win the battle with the higher score, and you get the gate card. Do this 3 times, and you win the match. The game is explained well through the tutorial, getting more used to it as you progress. But now let's get to the nitty gritty of it. starting with the aforementioned attributes. There's 6 of them. Pyrus, which is fire, Genieous, which is light, Subterra, which is earth, Aquas, which is water, his friends are his power, Ventus, which is wind, and Darkus, which is, well, dark. Different cards react differently to each attribute, and certain ability cards only work for certain attributes. Leonidas' attribute depends on which one you chose at the start of the game, and the other depends on the shop. To be perfectly honest, your entire run of the game could very well depend on the attribute you choose. I'm not entirely sure if one attribute is worse than the other, but I guess it's more or less to your own preference. The arenas for the tournaments also change attribute, giving certain advantages and disadvantages for the battles. Though you can stay with the same attribute all the time like I did, changing it up now and then is also recommended, so don't feel afraid to do so, especially if you want the trophies or achievements in this game. The arenas also have pickup items to grab if you can steer your Bakugan around well, additional points, hyper cards that affect the terrain for the opponents, and battle gems, which change the flow of battle. If you think you're going to run out of stamina, don't worry, there are refuel cells that you can regain your stamina. Get used to picking these items up, because not doing so can hurt you in the end for later tournaments. As for the battles themselves, there are 3 of them based on the color of the gate card. Gold gives a shooting game, blast your attribute to gain points. Silver gives a timing game, press the button when it gets to the end. Bronze is a shake battle, where you shake the controller. It should be mentioned that the PlayStation 3 version has motion controls, both for those pre-mentioned shake battles and to control your Bakugan all around as well as releasing it. It does take a bit of time to get used to, but if you got used to the Wii, I think you're going to handle this just fine. Once you do get used to it, matches are really fun, finding special ways around the arenas for pickups, or failing should you miss, because, well, that happens too. Especially for the CPUs. Too many times. Winning matches and tournaments give you Bakugan points, which increase your rank and gives currency for the shop. Here, you can buy new Bakugan through progression of missions, new cards through the same method, and level up your Bakugan, increasing stats and unlocking special shots. Special shots can stack the odd in your favor if done right, so it's wise to use them when the time is right. Especially when battles can be one-on-one, a tag team, and a battle royale of 4 players at once. Battle royales are what I feel to be the hardest battles, but luckily there's only one tournament of a battle royale. Other than one tag team tournament, the rest of the tournaments are one-on-one, so if you're a little worried about that, I wouldn't worry too much. These battles can be explored in the park. More players unlock as you encounter them in tournaments. They get harder as you progress through the story, and some have missions to unlock their Bakugan and cards upon their defeat. The park is the main source of optional content, and likely the place you'll spend at most of those missions. These missions are only looked at in the park as well, and they can range from getting the number 1 rank to defeating everybody in certain battles. Honestly, they're easy enough. Spend enough time on them and you'll complete them in no time. You also have your room to check your stats and collectibles, change your outfit whenever you want, and talk to the battle brawlers for tips and tricks. The main story alone could take you 8 hours to finish, but with the optional content and tons of Bakugan and cards to collect, that can easily triple. There are even optional tournaments once the story is finished, should you want an extra challenge, even letting you pick the style of battle you want. I gotta say, I'm genuinely impressed at how much content there is. Not only are there fun tournaments to go to, as well as when you can battle brawlers whenever you want, there's just surprisingly a lot to do. The game could have easily just stuck with the tournaments and called it a day, but they did go out of their way to add optional content should you feel you need to grind. Which I did, and I totally faked the game for running it. I had an absolute blast playing the game. It's surprisingly thrilling to battle and defeat opponents. Playing the cards just right can feel so satisfying upon victory, and only one time did I feel like I was cheap. More on that part in a little bit. If you messed up, it was mostly on you, so you better adapt and improve with the game. which is welcomed, especially for a licensed game. And for a licensed game, it's got a really good presentation. The story isn't the only thing that feels like the show. The world and characters also feel as such. Like I said before, all the returning characters have their roles reprised, so you actually playing against Dan, Shun, and a lot of the cast. All the featured Bakugan look great and adapt well to 3D. Arenas look stunning, the shading even affecting the characters to match the aesthetic. And the music. Oh man, the music fits so well. Energetic during battles, calm during menus, it's all fantastic. I kept getting blown away at how great the game looked and played every time I went to a new section. However, it's not perfect. While the selection of Bakugan are great, I felt like more could have been added. Warriors, Mantis, Hinoid, Manion, it's a nitpick, but it's also just me wanting to get more in action. There is a code for a Gold Warriors, but that only works on the DS version as far as I'm aware. Then again, there's the final boss. Nay, a difficulty spiked final boss. The final boss is a one-on-one brawl. You can only use Leonidas, and Marduk uses a special shot each time he throws Vlantor on the field, causing him to gain power and you to lose power. Usually he always has a higher power than you, so it always seems like a very tough fight each and every round. And you want to know how to win? You want to know the secret strategy in order to get a fair chance? You miss your first shot. Yes, despite the game teaching you otherwise, if you miss the first time, Marduk's special shot will never affect you as long as you land on a gate card after him. I don't get it, but I mean, hey, it works, I guess. Oh, the game was so close. Aside from that one hiccup and any other nitpicks I have, I've got to concede. It's a really fun game. Before we get to the wrap-up portion, I should mention the other console versions like I alluded to at the beginning of the video. Consoles that don't have motion controls, like the PlayStation 2, utilize the control sticks for the bronze shake cards. So I suppose you don't mind a graphical downgrade, you can go to the PlayStation 2 version for an easier time with the bronze cards. The DS version for the battles utilizes the touchscreen more, tracing the icon, tapping the amount of icons needed, and believe it or not, I actually managed to defeat the DS version before I beat the console version. Yes, I actually beat the console version for the first time just for this review. I hope you appreciate the dedication that goes into these videos. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff they normally put in the beginning of the video, but they shouldn't put at the beginning of the video because they think you enjoy the video! Sorry, not projecting. As for the main game itself, I am happy to say it is an overwhelming success. It adapts the source material really well, both the show and the game itself. It's fun to play and master, tons to collect. It's right up there with Arkham City and Battle for Bikini Bottom as one of my all-time favorite licensed games. Even mentioning the difficulty spiked final boss, I can't help but love the overall product. It didn't need to go as hard as it did, yet it did so fantastically. You can even play as other characters in multiplayer matches to keep the game going. Is it perfect? Not really, but it's a fantastic time for fans of the series. And hey, even if the story doesn't catch your eye, maybe playing this game just might get you into craze many fans loved all those years ago. And it made me wonder about the other games in the franchise, both the console's sequel and the reboot game. Well, I suppose to find out, a mini marathon is in order. Well, join us next time, won't you, as we take a look at the sequel, Bakugan Defenders of the Core. I'm the Gaming Genius, and this gaming wish has just been granted. Please be good, please be good, please be good, please be good, please.